Hey, what's up, brother?
Hi, Randy. Who in the heck do you got there with you?
I got my good friend and buddy, Brad Shreve. Brad, say hey.
Hey, everybody. Hey,
I think I've been replaced.
You've been replaced, but he's got hair. He's got hair.
So you've upgraded.
I've upgraded. No, I've upgraded, man. And I don't think you'll steal all my food either, because we're going to dinner tonight. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But as you can see, we are outside under a little tent in southern Florida. We're actually about an hour south of Miami, probably, and about an hour and a half north of Key West at the famous Q-Lab Outdoor Testing Center, which is the well-known in the industry as the test fence. And we're going to, as you can see them kind of over here in the background, this is where so much of the great testing is done by the folks at Axel Nobel to make sure that the coatings that's put on the paint are actually do what they say they'll do, and they know what they'll do. So we're out here touring the facility today, and I'm getting kind of learned up a little bit, and Brad and I are going to talk about what they do and why they do it. So it's like pretty high-tech stuff for me.
Whew, man, that sounds exciting. It's so exciting. I think we should just get to it.
Well, I don't know. I enjoy looking at you as always and your friendly voice. But yeah, let's just go. Let's go do it.
All right.
All right. See you, brother.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Hey, my friends, it's Randy, your host of Building Wins Live, and with my friend, my buddy, my pal, Brad Shreve, the coating technologist. I had to say that like 10 times. That word doesn't come out. It's a big word for me.
A big word for you?
It's a big word. I wanted to go with coatings guru or something.
Okay, well, you can do that too.
Okay, that works too.
That works. You do that too, buddy.
Perfect. I'll do it all. So we are here in, as I said in the pre-show with Wes, we are just south of Miami. Not just north of the Key West, but a little ways north of Key West, probably an hour.
We're the last exit before you head out to the Keys. Before you head out on Route 1 down to Key Largo.
So if we get hungry and we leave, Wes will carry on because I am getting hungry.
And there's some good seafood.
There are. But anyway, so Brad is the coating technologist, as I just said, and I said it again. That was brilliant. With Axel Nobel coil and extrusion. So Axel, for anybody in the industry, and even out of the metal roofing industry, which is where I live, knows Axel Nobel as one of the premier paint companies and coating people in the world.
Absolutely.
And Brad is he's done something for me as we've become friends, and I've had the pleasure of introducing him at a couple of trade shows. I have been in this industry, Brad, for 4+ decades, and involved with metal roofing that whole time. Yeah. And you made me feel really, really how dumb I was at the start of your conversations, and how I have an opportunity to learn towards the end, because I thought I knew about all I needed to do about coatings. Gotcha. I just thought I did.
Right.
And I knew nothing compared to what you know and to what goes on out there. So I think it's exciting. Especially since I sell some of your product via my Flat Global Metals coil company, and so I thought it's kind of a dual purpose, right? I get to learn a little bit myself. I've never been to the fence farm here. I'm going to call it the fence farm, but the test fence. So, anyways, let's get started. But start with. I always like to start. I start at the beginning.
Yeah, you got to start
because I get really confused if I don't.
You and me both,
and I may get confused before we get through it anyway, as I usually do.
And hey, let's face it, we're doing something completely new.
We are.
We're outside.
I know.
We got a little remote connection going on here.
Exactly. And
who knows what could happen?
Who knows? And the test fences are literally behind us. So, folks, we are not just coming from the inside the lab in a nice air-conditioned facility. We are actually out in the field inside the fence area. You can see back over my shoulder right here is some of the test fence where all this happens. So, Brad, first, before we get started, who in the world is Brad Shreve?
Oh boy, that's a dangerous question.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, get a water. I'll be back.
That is a dangerous question. Yeah, boy, who's Brad Shreve? I guess I'll pick the simplest response. So yeah, I'm a technical guy. Over 25 years experience in the polymer industry. That's my background, is polymer engineering. from the Akron area. So without a doubt, it's like mandatory that if you're in the polymer industry, you go into rubber.
Mhm.
So Akron, Ohio, rubber capital of the world.
Yep.
And that's where I started. And so I was very, very heavily focused in all things polymer, rubber, worked for a few really large rubber companies, a tire company, and sort of just, as things happen with everyone,
Right.
meandered my way into coatings. and I did that via a polymer company, right? So I never really gave coatings much thought.
Mhm.
And then I got to this wonderful company, and I began making emulsion resins for waterborne coatings, and just got bit really hard by the paint bug. And we in the industry, we always talk about you got bit by the paint bug, and there's something about it. And so for easily 20, almost 25 years now, I've been really in paint. And so made my way through some polymer suppliers, gained a lot of good industry experience that way on the polymer technology side. And then, you know, again, as the way life goes and the way things go, I found my way into Axo Nobel about 8.5 years ago, and a lot of it has to do with where we're sitting right now.
Mhm.
Through my past experiences, I not only did I get bit by the paint bug, but I got bit by the weathering bug. And it's kind of fun, to start out. I'm starting my career, and I'm doing a lot of formulations, making polymers, compounding rubber, making paints, and and seeing it all come together, and learning what makes these things what they are, and what affects what. And then along the way, I found out that, hey, it could be pretty cool to tear things apart. Right?
Well, you're one of those guys.
Yes, tear them apart.
Build
Right?
it up and then tear it apart.
Build it up and tear it apart, and it's a lot of fun, right? So I like to, we always call it the test funds, but the term I like to use for it is like our paint racetrack.
Okay.
If you're going to make a race car, eventually that race car is going to go on a test track, and they're going to put that race car through every test they can think of, until they pretty much destroy that car and break it down. And that's what we're doing here. So as far as my career, my background, that's Brad. I'm a proud father, a busy dad. Travel a lot these days, and that just makes life a little more busy, as the road warrior.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's me. I love science and technology. That's a hobby of mine, as well as is music. And
what kind of music?
Just really being a dad. So I am a true music lover.
Okay.
And I just pretty much love every kind of music.
Perfect.
I do gravitate to certain things, but I seem to go in this cycle, right? So right now I'm kind of in a bluesy cycle.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe a month from now I'll be listening to classical, and I just love music. It kind of ties together. I think it kind of ties together with the science thing too.
Sure. So if you like blues, Samantha Fish.
Yes.
You like Samantha? Samantha.
I know
I don't know her personally.
Yeah,
but shout out to Samantha. Call me.
Yeah.
Love to have you on the show. But is she good or what?
Really good.
And I love blues, and somebody turned me on to
You
her.
like the blues? Yeah.
And she's amazing.
Yep.
She's almost got a little bit of. We're digressing quickly, but she's got a little bit of that Janis Joplin.
Yeah, I love the raspy.
Voice, right, that raspy.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so an interesting thing. We're not at an Axo Nobel facility, though.
That's correct. No, that's right.
And I wanted to touch on that because we are at Q Lab. I guess we'll call it the outdoor testing facility.
Yep.
So, and I think it's interesting that it's not an Axo Nobel facility, because it's really independently run, even though you guys come down and do your testing.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit, because I think of something that I might bring up 2 or 3 times that is important for everybody to understand is I used to, early on in my career in this industry, sold all kinds of metal, bought it as a purchasing agent, installed it, sold it, and paint's paint.
Yes.
This is paint.
Right.
It's colored and it lasts a long time.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
And wow, that's not even close to the case, right? Not even close.
Not even close.
So I think it's beautiful with the idea of paint's paint, which we've established is not accurate.
Correct.
What is Q Lab? Why do you use Q Lab? What does this bring to the table for the end user, the contractor, the roll former, and everybody out there?
Yeah, so I guess I'll take that in sections, and I'll start with the Q Lab piece. And that's the beauty of working with Q Lab is they are a third party. They're completely a third party. They are run by their own rules. They have their own ISO certifications that they manage and have to abide by. And so although yes, they are wonderful to work with. They give us, access to the field. We're down here a lot. We get to see our specimens anytime we want, and the wonderful customer service we get from QLab. What's so nice is that we know we're running all of our specimens through their process, right? So they have, because they're ISO certified, ISO 17025 certified, they have to follow a really strict process. It's a specimen custody sort of thing, and so everything is logged along the way, right? They know exactly when a specimen is put into service. They know exactly how long a specimen is on service. They know exactly when a specimen is recalled, it's removed from a rack, it's sent back to our facility for testing, and so on and so forth. So every step of the way, it's meticulously cataloged, and all of the solar radiative properties are measured and are also cataloged along with our specimens. And that takes Axo Nobel out of this, right? That is, so we have independently certified data outside of Axo Nobel to say, yes, if you're looking at this particular panel and it has a certain identification, QLab is certifying that this panel is what it is, and it has been under the sun for as long as we say.
Anybody that, not that they would think you would, but it takes out any question, there ain't no cheating going on.
There is no cheating. Yeah.
Right.
No,
and that's the key to independent testing, right?
Absolutely.
Is that anybody can do their own testing, and probably 98% of the time they're honest. But you don't know whether they're honest, right?
Exactly.
Here, it is what it is. If you, for lack of this, it'll be a high technical term now because you're a technical guy. You ready for this?
Okay.
If you really suck at something,
yes,
it's going to be there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it just is.
It is going to be there,
and that's the beauty of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and that is a good technical term. We use that a lot.
I use that a lot.
So, we got to get to the point sometimes, and sometimes things suck.
Sometimes they suck, and but learning what doesn't work is at least minimally as important.
Oh gosh. Oh yes.
If not more so.
Absolutely.
And what I liked about, you talk about the race car scenario, which I think is good, is you test this to a point of failure.
Of failure. Oh, absolutely.
And that's important because everything possible in the world is going to fail at some point. The key is how long do we get? What's the longevity? What can we expect? What can we tell our customers to expect? Right.
Yep.
And that's the key. And no, I love it. And just being out here, you got like a few acres of stuff.
We have a lot of stuff.
I'm glad we rode, even though I walk a lot, as you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't get my full walk in this morning. I may this evening if I don't partake in dinner for too late. Okay, so I won't walk tonight. But anyway, we took the golf cart around out here. That's how big it is, folks.
Yes,
we took a golf cart up and down. And so I noticed a few things that are very interesting. One is things are at a 45-degree angle.
That's right.
You're pointing due south, exactly. And we're about as tough of a weather condition that you're going to find anywhere in the United States. Massive heat in the summer months especially. But all year round it's hot. But really engulfingly hot in the summer months. High humidity almost always. Hurricanes. I don't know if we get any salt there this far in, or are we close enough? We get no salt here.
This is considered non-coastal.
Okay, but still, with all that said, that I assume there's some reasons why we're 45-degree angle. There's some reasons why we're pointing due south versus 30-degree angle and pointing to the north. Right? There's a reason for that.
You are absolutely right. I mean, we and pretty much anything we do, we have to do it for a reason. We generally do it for a reason. You're absolutely right. So South Florida, south of Miami is a really special place. And for the reasons you listed, and it's so special that this area is written into a lot of specifications when it comes to weathering. And pretty much anyone globally is doing some sort of weathering study here. It's that special. And like you said, it's the heat, and it's the consistent heat, but just as much the heat is the moisture. And we refer to it as the time of wetness. And these products are moist every day for some lengthy period of time, right? And if we look at chemical reactions and what's happening in a paint or any other product for that matter, moisture and heat really drive a reaction. Okay. And it's just proportional to that. And so South Florida is very special, but that's not to say there aren't other special areas. Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona is a great example. The UV intensity is much higher in Arizona, but it's very arid, very dry. So we actually see a different performance or a different result given weathering studies done in South Florida versus an arid Arizona, higher UV but much less moisture. And so we can do this all around the globe, right, with these different regional, characteristics.
Sure.
South Florida, this part being the only subtropical part of the continental U.S. We're very lucky in this way to have it in basically our backyard. So we can use all of these different areas to put a lot of information together and learn under a very natural setting how a product will perform. And we do, and I'm glad you said it too, because I always show it when we're down here. We want to see failures. We certainly don't want to see our products fail in service, and we know our products are very high quality and we see very little in that way. But if you're not driving something to failure, you're actually just not testing it enough, right? You're not you do want to see differences. If we were out here today and afterwards I'm going to show you some panels and I just, panel after panel looks super and brilliant, what are we really learning?
Right. Exactly. No, you're exactly right. And that comes back to what I've said, and I just think is a key to this thing is paint is not just paint.
It is not.
And so by testing that to failure, I think the end user, the contractor, the lumber yard, if it's going through two-step, or the roll former, whatever steps are, they have a real confidence level that when you say, and here's the specs, and here's what the fade will be, here's what the whatever the different criteria are, that you know what you're talking about because you've tested them this for more than a year or two.
Oh gosh, yeah, more than a year or two by times 10, 20.
Yeah.
And yes, that's exactly why we are very confident in the technology that we put out to market, because it all starts here, and it truly does start here. And we have a lot of R&D here, that would never make it out to market, and we study all aspects of a coating, the coating composition. But on a regular basis, we are having discussions about taking products to market, and without a doubt it goes through, okay, how long has it been on the test fence? What do we have from the test fence? Because we, Axo Nobel, care a lot about quality, and we want to be confident that what's going out to market has had many, many years prior under natural conditions and some of the most severe conditions possible.
So what, and it probably varies, I'm going to guess, but what is the what is the typical time frame to market from this newfangled great paint idea that somebody come up with somewhere in Columbus, Ohio, let's say?
Yeah.
This may be the newest, greatest thing ever in the world, right?
Right.
But now we got to go test it and make sure that even accurate, right?
Absolutely.
And I know it probably varies, but that's probably a decade.
You're not far off,
Okay.
and it does vary a lot. Certainly, one of the biggest variables would be resources, right? I mean, these sorts of things are very, very time and manpower intensive to get done. There's many, many years of research that happens before anything even makes it to the test fence.
Sure.
And so if let's take, for example, a very high priority new technology, Axo Nobel always has a very full research and development, new product development pipeline, right? And you have to be ahead of that, right? You have to have these things going so we can get the things to market quickly when the time is right. But yes, I mean, you're absolutely right. It could be up to 10 years. That's probably a little long, but if we take bit by bit of what we learn from the test fence, it could be around 10 years if we take into account that, okay, maybe this particular raw material has been tested for 5 years. And so we know we can use that to incorporate with a new technology. And then that new technology, it's going to be in the test fence for 5 years or so.
So there's a compounding effect because you find something, or at least that's what I'm thinking. What I hear, you think this is it.
Yep.
But then you find out, maybe it's not quite, right? So, but you don't start from zero again.
No,
because now the good news is you already know what doesn't work,
exactly,
or what part is probably not working, or you have a place to start, right?
Yep.
So that's got to, to bring that time frame a little bit more into a doable thing, because you think about it, there's a lot of R&D costs in over a 10-year period.
Oh, for sure.
To have, and it's all cost out for a business, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's zero cost coming in, or even zero
Not for
profit
R&D,
coming in,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you're spending lots and lots and lots of money and redos and failures and trying to get to the perfect thing before you even get to turn the switch one day and send out paint can number one and make a couple bucks, right?
You're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. And that's why everything does come through this test fence, even in the conception phase, right? And we do exactly like you said. We take learnings we already have, and we can put them together and try to speed up this time to market. And we have been out here for, I'm not sure the exact time frame I should know at this point, but it has to be going on 50 years.
50.
Yeah.
Wow.
40, 50 years. And all along the way, we catalog and we have a massive database of just every parameter you could think of on every raw material and variation thereof. And we can put this together in ways to bring things to market much quicker than, like you said, starting from zero.
Right.
No one can afford the time to start from zero.
Oh, no. That's exactly. After 50 years of that, you got a lot of test results for somebody way smarter than me to dig through and really speed that up.
Absolutely. Like I said, we learn from failures along the way as well.
Yeah. And you learn from success too, right?
Of course.
You know, when you have a success, it's got to be exciting.
Yep.
It's got to be exciting when you realize what in R&D at the original, before it gets to the fence, you thought was going to be a great thing, but it's always got to be not a surprise, but it's got to be fulfilling to find out, you know what, it's been out here like 7 years and this thing is like smoking.
Oh, absolutely. And we do see that on a regular basis. And then it comes down to, is there a fit for this in the market right now? But yes, we see things on a regular basis, and we love to show some panels and some panel series that our Ceramistar 1050 SMP, silicone modified polyester, was born out of this test fence, right? And we went through iterations of technologies and continually learning, continually changing, making sure we have things on exposure that we can go back to, and suddenly we see results that are promising, and there you go, we had a next generation.
Nice. So you hit us on a minute ago, made me want to circle back. So you fit for market. Are you driven by the market demand, or are you driven by a more internal, we think we can do something better, or is it a combination of both?
Oh, it's definitely a combination of both. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we strive always. Axo Nobel is always in great relationships with our customer base, great communication. We understand what the market is doing, and we understand the needs of the market at the time, and we're certainly always trying to meet those demands. But without a doubt, we have highly smart people. We have great cutting edge technical resources that we use to look at the novel, right? And what might be out there that could be a game changer. So we are always doing both for sure.
Yep. That game changer is always fun, right?
The game changer is fun, and let's face it, the market is doing it too. And if you're not somewhat prepared for the game change,
right,
you're behind.
Well, exactly, because you're obviously doing this because regardless of what we do in any industry, in any business, we all have competition, right?
Absolutely.
So your goal is to stay a step or two ahead of them too. You don't want to be the last guy in the game if you can help it,
right?
And so I think that's key too. So tell me, let's circle around to Axo Nobel. We talked about how all the things you're doing, but where'd they start? Who are they? What else are they into? Because I know they do more than just paints for the metal roll forming industry, which I think is important because Axo Nobel is not just focusing on just paints for a specific industry. So I'm sure I guess where I'm going with this is I'm sure you learn stuff from other industries that translates here or vice versa, right? So the advantage of not being just solely focused on one industry only has got to have big benefits. So, and who is Axo Nobel? Where's Axo Nobel from? Where did you get your start?
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm glad you asked that, and I have to say I'm not just saying this because I'm representing Axo Nobel. I love working for Axo Nobel, and I'm extremely proud to be a part of Axo Nobel. And if I go back to my past lives, when I was working on the polymer supply side, we knew all about Axo Nobel, and we really wanted to be involved in Axo Nobel because they're known for the quality. Axo Nobel is a top shelf manufacturer of the highest quality paints and coatings that you can get. And so, yeah, it's a company with a really long history. AkzoNobel is a Dutch company. These days, headquartered in Amsterdam, and I think maybe 232 years old now. On the spot, I'm not going to get, but it's over 230 years old. Very, very long standing paints and coatings company. If there's a paint and coating out there, AkzoNobel, without a doubt, has made it, has the ability to make it and supply it, or is currently doing it. And certainly with any business, they weigh, what's it worth to be into and what's not. But the technology is very, very deep at AkzoNobel, and that's one of the things that makes me the most proud. We have several major business units, so very much a global company. Like you said, we're one of the world's largest. We're in automotive paints. We're in aerospace paints. Certainly, we're in coil and extrusion paints with what we're doing here. AkzoNobel is the largest producer of deco paints, so house paint. Just so happens that we don't sell that in the United States. So and it's very interesting because AkzoNobel, being the large, well-known company it is in the United States, it does have a little bit of a brand absence, if you will, right? Just because of this deco paint not being supplied in the United States. So people, and that's the Dulux brand name. And actually, I think you're going to meet some colleagues of mine. One from South Africa who has always used Dulux paint. And why can't I get the Dulux paint here in America? Yes, AkzoNobel is a wonderful large company involved in all the cutting edge technologies that are going on in paints and coatings.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. You think about it, the average consumer, their exposure to paint is going to be going to the big box store, the local hardware, the local lumberyard, and buying a gallon of paint or two to paint their house, right?
Nope, that's exactly right.
And so if they don't see the name, they might not recognize it.
You're absolutely right, and it's part of what I try to do. Is I'm now in the role I'm in now. I'm engaging more on the customer side, and I'm getting out there, and we certainly want to be known for our quality, and it's a difficult thing to get by or get to the end customer when they're not this. Well, who's AkzoNobel? Right. We don't see you like we do in the stores, and so yes, we're constantly trying to get that message out.
Well, and you do a great job with it because I know AkzoNobel has been very involved, especially of late, with industry events.
Yes.
At local chapter association meetings. If it's no more than just having a tabletop and talking to the contractor or the lumber yard or the roll former that may come through, up to the larger major shows. I mean, you guys make a real effort to be out there and be in front of people, and you, excuse me, do a great job with presenting at these shows.
Thank you.
And you do it in a way, as I mentioned earlier, and not blowing smoke, that is easy for the layman to understand, because I don't care how long you've been in this, compared to what there is to know, we're all laymen.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm a layman, and I've been doing this for 4+ decades. And I'll admit I know about 2% of what I ought to know about paints, right? So you explain it in a way to people that is very understandable. It makes sense. And you're going, okay, because it's real easy with some of this technical stuff, if you're not technically oriented, especially, to go, okay, I'm going to the bathroom and not coming back because I think I got 45 minutes more of Brad with this stuff, and I have no idea what it was in 3 minutes in, right? So you do a great job with that, and that's a compliment that I mean.
Thank you.
And so, and I point to that is anybody that catches this ever, if Brad, and I don't think I'm talking out of school, is always open to do any kind of educational assistance, whether it's the webinars, seminars, in person, whatever the case may be, to people that want to help expose their customers to what AkzoNobel does. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, that's very fair, and I'm really glad you said that. Yes, and so not to go back through the history, but I've been a researcher my career, and I always just figured I'd keep going in this way, and I really need to recognize some colleagues and people that saw a talent in me, and now I'm doing something new, right? I still have a dotted line to research and development when it comes to weathering work, but that is what I'm doing these days, and I found that I love it. I love to teach, not only about paint but all sorts of things. I really like it, And it seems to be a knack that I have to, like I say, get it to people that don't understand the technology and realize that they don't have to have a chemistry degree before I can explain what's happening. And we've also realized the importance, and it really is important that our customers do understand some very, very specific things about these products. As you said it earlier, yeah, paint's paint. We all kind of, it's just a color, right? You just slap it on there and no one thinks more about it. And it's doing so much, right? It's doing so much from the point of application through the many decades in service, protecting the building, protecting the surface, whatever it may be. And we've really realized a benefit to have educated customers. And we do see that our customers appreciate it too.
Sure. Well, and having that educated customer, because as we taught, because the actual Nobel name without the deluxe brand being on the store shelves, you don't have that automatic name recognition. So the beautiful thing, or the I guess the reality, is that you have to rely on 2 or 3 levels down to get it to the consumer to realize they should even care.
Yes.
Because otherwise they're just going to ask paint. I mean,
and they do.
This guy or this guy or this guy, it's all red.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's all red, so I just want the cheapest.
I want the cheapest price. It's all red, and I'm just going to buy from this guy.
Right.
But so it's really important that you get that message, and as an industry, we get that message to the roll former, who then gets it to his customer, whether that's the lumber yard or the two-step distributor, or whether it's direct to the contractor or direct to the homeowner, however that chain goes. That's where that's going to happen. You and I, and I have an obligation now with being a FLAC rep to promote the actual name, as well with our product.
Absolutely.
But I can't talk to every consumer and every contractor in America.
Right.
Nor can you.
Right.
So it's really vitally important that we get this message to the intermediaries, I guess, for lack of a better term, so that they can get that to the homeowners, so that they understand that there is a value to what we're doing here.
You're spot on, and that's exactly how we target it as well. Our customers, whether it be a distributor down to a roll former, they are able to feel comfortable with some of the technical knowledge that they can convey down the line, to have their customers realize there is a difference, right? And at the end of the day, in our market, we're talking building construction, 30, 40-year warranties, and service lives well beyond that. There's a lot tied to this.
Sure.
Exactly. Not only just the warranty by the letter, but there's a lot of reputation tied to this.
Absolutely.
And we want our customers to know that if quality matters, we have the quality for you, and we will stand behind our warranties, and you will get a product that goes the time.
Well, and I think it's the natural progression of that is guys like yourself are going to be at 100% knowledge of what's going on. You teach guys like myself that might sell coil to somebody, I'm going to get about 80% of it, maybe, if I'm lucky. And then we're going to try together to teach the roll former. Maybe he gets sick. I'm just using numbers. But each level of that knows what their customer needs to know and what's important to them, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's where it's key to get as much information to our customers out there as we can, so that they have not only the confidence, but the ability to parlay in a commonsensical way to their customer. Because let's face it, Mabel and Mark coming in to throw some metal on their old barn don't need a lot, probably. They probably don't even want a lot.
Exactly.
But they would like somebody to say, hey, look, we use paint by whomever, supplied by Axel Nobel, and there's the 2 or 3 bullet points. Here's, we do this and this and this, and this is why this is great. That's probably all I need.
No, you're absolutely
as the
right.
homeowner.
You're absolutely right. And it does. It distills its way down just like that to everyone has what they need to do their part in this chain. At the end of the day, to service our customers and to get the message of quality out there. Again, a lot of people shop on price alone, and there's just so much more to this than just that.
Exactly.
And I've realized, even before I came to the role I'm doing now, a lot of assumptions, a lot of sort of old adage sort of descriptions from down the chain when it comes to paint and what's going on and what's being put on, whether it's the steel or someone's building, and just being able to correct that in a way that, makes people understand it, but they felt it was done in a way that makes them feel comfortable. And now they have the confidence. I'm really glad you said it that way, to repeat it. Right. And that's at the end of the day, if we do some sort of educational thing to our customers, but it was done in a way where they're not quite sure what they just heard, or it's just clear as mud kind of thing, they're not going to have the confidence to continue that message down the line.
Well, they're not,
and so it won't happen.
And it won't happen. And you're right, is that you see it all the time in a group setting, an educational setting. Any questions? Well, a lot of times you kind of don't want to ask because you don't want to look stupid, right? So you don't ask. But if you make it simple and easy enough, then that you don't feel silly for asking the question. But I made a note here, and you kind of hit on it. But we have to know about dispelling the myths about paint.
Yeah, for sure.
If you could, and we didn't talk about this pre-show or anything, but I got to believe there's 2, 3, 4 handful of myths about painted coil that people just maybe are wrong about, or misunderstand, or don't fully understand. What, as we sort of start winding down, what are some of the things that an end user and or a contractor, let's forget the role former, because they're going to educate themselves pretty well. What are some of the things that they just, you probably think this, but it's not true, or you don't even think to understand this may make sense? I know we've covered a couple of those, but there's got to be a myth or two out there that's just probably wrong.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
No, for sure. I would say the first thing that comes to mind would be a color is just a color. Like that red's just a red, right? What does it matter if I buy this red from Axo or anyone else? It's the same color. I'm looking at it. You can achieve these colors in many different ways, right? And so it comes back to our deep R&D, our investment in our test fence, to understand the way to put a color together. Because let's face it, everyone is buying that color because they like it,
right.
And they don't want that color to go away,
right?
So make it in a way that color is going to last as long as possible. So that's one. The color is the color. The other one would be, for example, and I'll just use SMP, silicone modified polyester. Ours is Ceramistar 1050. That's kind of the workhorse in the building construction industry. If it's an SMP, it's an SMP, right? Why is you have an SMP, someone else has an SMP, it's all the same, right?
I guess you're going to tell me that's not right.
It's not right.
Okay.
It's not right. And it goes back to how these products are put together, the decisions made as to why these formulations are what they are. And, something about an SMP, yes, they have silicone, right? Silicone is part of the polymer backbone, but it can be a different silicone moiety, right? So depending on the company, or you can have different silicones. Well, certainly that's going to perform differently. And these building blocks, these polyester building blocks, can also be significantly different, yet have the tag of SMP. Okay, so you have, it's an SMP, but they can be vastly different.
So paint is not just paint, and SMP is not just SMP.
SMP is not just SMP.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
That's good, yeah.
And if we don't know that out in the field at whatever level, you can't explain that to a customer and get them to understand the difference could be probably not next year, probably not 5 years from now, but you get out a number of years, and most people putting a metal roof on their siding, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, industrial, a pole barn, a backyard barn, a horse barn, it doesn't matter. The expectation is that's going to look kind of nice 30, 40 years from now, right?
Right.
And so it's pretty important, because you're not going to see paint is paint, probably, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 years out before too much can go wrong, right? It probably doesn't matter a lot, maybe, or does it?
Well, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
I thought I knew the answer, but I was taking a risk.
No, but it's a great question, and maybe I can show you some things today that, just in this sector, SMP, just a few years in, we see differences.
Okay.
We do see differences, and it has to do with the composition, right?
Yeah.
They're different. They're still called SMP, but the composition is different, and therefore you see different performances. And sometimes it can be rather quickly.
So the guy that goes paint, and this one's going to cost me $75 cheaper on my building, that's what I'm going to go with. Not going to be a well spent $75 2 years from now when he's not getting the performance that he thought he was going to get.
Exactly. And
That's the
and
key.
the unsatisfied customer.
Yeah.
Now we have company reputations, right? Hey, so and so sold me this, and my friend got something else, and his looks better, and I don't understand why, and I'm never going to buy from that person again, and on down the line it goes. And
you can never undo those bad reputations.
You can't undo it.
I mean, it's always going to be there in the background of anybody's mind, at least.
Absolutely.
Even if they stop doing, even if they didn't stop doing business with you today, maybe it's that chink in the armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want that.
No, you don't want that,
especially when there's opportunities not to have it.
Exactly.
Right.
And there are, and that's you put that interestingly. There's certainly opportunities and choices.
Yes.
Okay. And Axel Nobel chooses over and over again to be top quality.
Mm-hmm.
Quality matters, and it's quality of product, it's quality of the service we give to our customers, the engagement, and all these other ancillary things that you're going to get quality with Axel Nobel. It's a choice.
It's a choice, and people that I run into this a lot in a lot of different parts of my business. That well, my customers are different. They're price only. They're whatever only. And there are some. But the general purpose, I would say, well, our people just want to pay that little bit extra for this. Well, then there would be only a stripped down Chevrolet.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Now, there wouldn't be anything else. Or keeping it back in our industry, well, then they'd only be a 20-year or a 10-year, go beyond that. They'd just be bare galvanized.
Mm-hmm.
If it's only price. Let's put the least amount of galvanized, stick it out there, and who cares what happens to it if it's only price.
Exactly.
So you're paying more to have it painted, period.
Yep.
You're painted more to have a 40-year than you would a 20-year.
Mm-hmm.
So people are willing to pay more.
Absolutely.
We in our industry that are in the sales chain have to do as good a job as we can to help the end user via the intermediaries understand how to present the fact that you don't always just want to save $300 on this building.
No, and that's exactly right. And although I'm not on that sales side of things, it certainly comes down to, is there confusion, right? Is there confusion at the buying end where at the end of the day, they're going to say, well, yeah, you're right. I want to save $1,000. That sounds good to me right now. And they're confused, or maybe they're just not understanding completely what that saving $1,000 means now and in a couple of years down the road. And if that message can get conveyed in a way that they understand the quality and comparing, right? Comparing different, because there's not just SMP either, right? I mean, we have all sorts of paint systems. Let them make the educated decision to get something, because people, if you're doing the barn dominium or any, they really do want quality. Yes. I know that it comes down to, writing those checks or looking at the numbers, but that person is not consciously sacrificing quality to save that money. But there's just some of these misunderstandings that, well, okay, you're telling me that they're all the same, so okay, I'll save that money and we'll go down, and then they're unhappy later.
Well, and I think too, so we don't have a misconception. We're not talking drastic amounts more money to have a whole lot better. It's not like I can do this job for 1,000, this one 9,000. You're talking pennies sometimes difference.
Absolutely right.
To have something way better. So you don't sell yourself short, I guess, as a consumer or as a contractor, because as a consumer, they may live with this maybe forever, or a long, long time, or they want a good resale. They want their pole barn out back to look pretty when they go to sell their property someday. The contractor, it's important because they don't want callbacks.
Oh no,
that's the last thing you want. Is my like you said earlier, my neighbor bought metal from this guy about the same time of the year when I bought mine, and we both got red, and mine looks like crap, and his is great. And why? Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that,
right? So let's just do a better job up front of helping educate, as you said.
Yes.
And for a nickel or two more, you can have something that 20 years from now you're still happy with. 40 years you're still happy with.
Absolutely. Right. And you're putting things really well here today, Randy, because it does come down to, and I don't know, whether it's the nickel or a dollar, this is not major differences. And I understand on the steel supply side and that coil coating manufacturing side, yes, pennies matter and it all adds up. But at the consumer side,
Right.
yes, you're not asking. It's not this huge
Right.
ask to get maybe the better quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And quality is only, or excuse me, price is only cool the day you write the check.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's the only day it's cool.
That's the only day it's cool.
After
Absolutely.
that, it stops being cool real fast.
Yes.
And especially when you have a less than stellar looking roof or building
Mhm.
5, 6, 8, 10 years from now, then you're disappointed and I still want to stay here. I hate the way it looks, but I don't want I can't afford now to redo it already. And so you live with it.
Yep.
That lives on forever.
It does.
Where the couple of more dollars up front is I'll skip Starbucks for a month or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just make the decision. Because
Exactly.
most things, and I know you can nickel and dime yourself on any project, but you're building an $80,000 building. The cost to have a high quality paint versus a not high quality paint is not a make or break at all. It's not even in the calculation, really.
Yeah, I would believe that.
Right? It's almost zero.
Yeah, I would
Really?
believe that.
So
I would believe it's minimal.
Why would you do that? That's my point.
Right.
So
And yeah, it's the education piece,
Mhm.
and we do want to educate the market, and we want to be good stewards in this industry. Right.
Mhm.
It looks bad for the industry.
absolutely.
We can point out all the areas in different places, and you see something, and that looks bad. Well, you may have just changed someone's mind who was thinking about getting a metal roof. Gosh, I just don't want that to end up being me.
Right.
And it's all about this engagement. And education.
That is such a great point, Brad, because I talked about that at some place I did a talk a year or two ago. We talked about with pole barn builders, for example.
Mhm.
You want to hope if you don't get the job that whoever your competitor does a great job.
Yes.
Because you're still going to get your business based on your reputation. But what you don't need is people going, well, I wish I'd have built a stick built, not a pole barn, because that really sucked.
Absolutely.
Right? That just kills
We
you.
all want everyone to do well
Right.
and have success and have that good showing
Right.
for our industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a final point on that, I know a really, really good in-home sales guy, happens to be my son, that used to use when he sell metal only.
Yeah.
He would always say, if at the end of the day you can't see fit to go with a metal roof with me, please buy a metal roof from one of my competitors.
Oh wow.
I'll even give you a name if you need it. But that's how strongly I feel that you should have metal on your roof.
It's a great message.
Almost every time he got the sale.
Yeah.
You're willing to let me
really
walk
smart.
out of here.
Yeah, no, that's really smart.
But he believed it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's true. So, anyways, what did we miss today? Should ask questions. I know I sometimes get going and we get going, and you've been so gracious with your time. And I want to walk some more of the fence out here, but this is just. There's acres of fence out here. It's amazing.
Acres.
Yeah. Acres. One thing I asked you earlier, and I wanted you to tell people in case they wonder, because we are in hurricane-prone world here, right?
Yes.
I live most of my life about 2 hours away from here in the subtropic area as well, so I'm very familiar with the hurricane world. These things at 45-degree angle, don't they get? How do you keep them from getting blown away? See, I know the answer to that one, but
that's all right. That's a good lead.
The reason is because you told me.
But I'll tell you what, Randy. Every time we're here and we have a customer here, that question comes up.
Oh, sure, it does.
I mean, it's just
you look at them up off the ground 3 feet at a 45-degree angle.
It looks like a kite.
That could easily just see that all piled up on top of the building up here, right?
And it would. And I think living and learning through past hurricanes and experiences, what they do now is employ a small army to hurry up. They come out and they lay all of these racks face down. So they have to individually remove each rack, and it goes face down, and the wind just skips right over
the top.
Yep.
Will it take a few of the panels off, maybe, or are they pretty well stay?
Oh, they're protected. No, because they're held down with that flap.
Oh, the flap.
Flap.
Okay.
And they're protected very well. Yeah. And I have to say, since that's been the case, we see very, very little damage when it comes to.
Andrew was the one that got you, right?
And Andrew got him. Yep. Andrew, I think, was the biggest learning moment.
Yeah.
And really, since then, we have some Andrew survivors out here. We like to point out, it's kind of this wiggly panel now.
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah, because with the acres of these, if they all got destroyed, that'd be years worth of.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, this is a major investment for Axel Nobel. We know it's a large installation, but we do it and we stand behind it because of what we get out of it. And it's multifaceted. So yes, losing panels, we're losing a lot of information.
Oh my God, yeah.
We don't ever want that.
If you got panels out here and it's on the 15th year, that's a lot to lose.
Oh, it's a lot.
Right.
In 15 years, that's still relatively young.
That's the young ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you got to start over again.
You would have to start
And
over. I mean, yes.
You think again, a high technical, that's not cool.
That is
That's
another good one.
That's not cool.
It is not cool.
That might suck. That might suck even. Yeah. So, well, good. So what did we miss before we get out of here, my friend?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, this is something I'm passionate about. I could go on and on about it. I think it's important to clarify or at least distinguish that, yes, we do this. It's in a natural setting. There's no electricity running to this. This is harnessing the sun, the wind, the heat, all of the biological things that are happening that cannot be reproduced artificially. So we do it in this natural, harsh setting. But just like everyone else, time is of the essence, right? And we do need to use and employ other techniques that are artificial accelerated. And so you can only do that if you're doing the natural weathering. Okay. And we always caution customers, if you're presented with a panel or test panel data and it's only from an artificial test, let's say a artificial UV test, it's not meaningful until that can be correlated to real world.
Real world is still real world.
It's real world. So if you have this panel and it came out of a UV cabinet and it looks bad, and they say, well, it was 2,000 hours. Well, what does that mean in the real world, right? So you have to correlate these things. One of the many reasons why we do this. I think the other important thing is just more to circle back on AkzoNobel. When we talk about the quality of the products, and again, we invest heavily in doing these sorts of things because quality is paramount. Just in the past few years, AkzoNobel, just in North America alone, has invested $100 million in R&D facilities, resin pilot plant, and so on and so forth. So that's just how much AkzoNobel is invested in this, and how much.
I mean, that's a serious commitment.
It's a serious commitment, and that's just North America alone. Let alone the sustainability targets we've set. We're always, top of the line when it comes to achieving sustainability goals and sustainability rankings. So again, I could go on, and I could say one more time how proud I am to be associated with AkzoNobel. But we just want to have this call of action to our customers, right? Please, like you said, Randy, contact me. We want to engage with you. We want to educate you. And maybe it's like your son saying, okay, if you don't buy from us, at least buy from another, buy a metal roof or buy that steel building and let us help you.
And buy from somebody else that's kind of trying to do things right too, right?
Doing it right. Exactly.
Because we all win or we all lose on that.
Exactly.
Well, and it's been a great conversation, and I'm looking forward to this helicopter. That's
real world, man.
Real world, buddy. We are actually outside. This is not a facade.
No. I wiped a couple bugs out.
Yeah, I know. I had a couple itches too, a couple bugs. I was hoping it wasn't a salamander. No, there's no salamander. A gecko.
I like that. Yeah,
I don't mind gecko.
Gecko.
Yeah. I could talk to him about my insurance. So I think we need a whole deal. But no, this has been great stuff. I'm looking forward. So I toured the lab folks a little bit when we walked through, and I mean, this is the real deal. It's not just a fence and a bunch of stuff out there. You got technicians and people like Brad that can come down here and do the stuff they do. This is like real world.
This is high quality stuff.
And I was impressed. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it, brother.
Man, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
It's great to see you.
So there we are, folks. Here we are in Southern Florida. It doesn't get any better than this. It's hot. It's humid. It's subtropical. And I just love it. Brad loves it. He come down from Akron. So, he got his shorts on.
I got my
I showed up. I was out of uniform.
Pasty white legs.
Well, I come over because when I work from home, I always have shorts on. Okay. But I come over here for a quote business meeting, and the first thing I find is he walks out with his shorts on. So but I have some in my car. But I manned up.
You did it. You're a Florida guy.
So I'm a Florida guy. It's only 80, and that's like almost still chilly. So
right.
But anyways, Brad, thank you again.
Thank you, Randy.
I hope you enjoyed this. Reach out to Brad. Reach out to AkzoNobel. He's here to help you, and he will help you. And to reach out to me, anything that I can do, please, when you see this, share it out, comment, like it, give it to your friend, let them know, because I think there's so much good information here. If you're in the industry, or you're a contractor, you're a roll former, or you're just an end user that wants to know about metal, check it out. About paint, I should say, or metal. Sure, on paint. Sure. But anyways, that's it for today, Brad. We're gonna get out of here. As I always say, and I am doing it today. I'm loving what I do and doing what I love. Absolutely. You know, you get one go around. I live it, love it, and own it. That's what we're doing today. And until tomorrow, make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Who wrote that? Man, it must have been a doctor.
Yeah.
Cheers, folks.
Thank you.